Everyone in business or working with people needs to know what makes people tick. And this is what the lab profile training gives you. The lab profile is the language and behavior profile. It is a linguistic interview which causes the person being interviewed to reveal how their brain is functionally organized. I know this sounds highfalutin, but it's really very down-to-earth, straightforward, and practical. Industry leaders using the lab profile. Hit pause if you want to read all of these. Hi, I'm Roger Bailey. I started developing the lab profile in the late 70s, and I taught it around the world throughout the 80s and 90s. Now, many other people are teaching the lab profile around the world in English and in many other languages. I have reduced my training footprint, but I have continued developing additional lab profile patterns for work with my current clients. At the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can learn the most up-to-date lab profile patterns from me. If you know that someone's brain is organized to follow procedures, it is best to give them tasks which have clearly defined procedures. And if you know that someone's brain is organized to work with details, it's best to give them information in detail and give them tasks which are about knowing, working with, and respecting the details. This is what the lab profile is all about. Recognizing who someone is and assigning tasks to match this person's innate capabilities and strengths. And even more than that, if you know a person's brain is organized to follow procedures and is good at managing details, for instance, they will be very uncomfortable doing something for which there are no procedures, or when they have to work with the big picture. So managers really need to know these kinds of things about their employees and bosses and suppliers and customers and even their market in general. The lab profile is a linguistic interview, which lets the interviewer know if the person being interviewed is good at following procedures or not, and is good at working with details or not. And of course, the lab profile training helps you recognize if the person you're talking with is good at 50 other precise task capabilities. I know this might sound like an overwhelming task to learn an interview which gets people to display and teaches you how to recognize which of these 54 possible brain function operations, these capabilities, this group or this person normally operates with. Sure, it sounds really complex, but it's simply a direct and precise way to learn what makes people tick, and you will also learn what to do about what you have recognized in this group or this person. And it is easy to learn how to do this. When you take the lab profile training, you watch a series of video lessons which takes you through exactly how to interview people and exactly how to identify their patterns in response to the lab profile's precise questions you will be asking them. With the lab profile training, you will get my lab profile interview form. This is a one-page form which has all of the questions you will use when you perform the lab profile interview. Most of these questions have a simple set of possible answers, and you simply place a check mark on the form showing which way this person answered. In your lab profile training, I take you through the whats and the whys of all of these precise questions you ask, the lab profile patterns you identify, and how this information is important for this person and for you, your organization, or your client. In your lab profile training program, you will listen to recordings of real people answering all of the questions you will be learning how to ask, and you will learn how to recognize which pattern to mark on the form based on many practical examples. You learn this because, as part of your training, you listen to multiple recordings of real people actually answering each of the questions on the form, and you learn how to recognize each type of answer and mark the form identifying each of this person's patterns. And during the days or weeks when you are going through your own lab profile training on your own schedule, you are encouraged to call your friends and family and ask them the questions you're learning so that you will know that real people actually do reveal how their brain operates in response to these questions. And even more, as you take the lab profile training program online, you will learn about yourself. You will learn about your close family and friends, and you will have an opportunity to learn that each and every one of the patterns of the lab profile has places and situations where each lab profile pattern is useful and places and situations where that same pattern is not useful. You will also learn how to be tolerant of all the patterns you might have been frustrated by in yourself or in others, because you will learn how all of these patterns you learn in your lab profile training have a place in the world where that particular pattern is the only one which can succeed. Your lab profile training will give you a professional skill which will benefit you when you deal with people, because you will understand people at a deeper level than most others will ever recognize or understand. This skill will help you understand, manage, motivate, and influence those you talk with and listen to. Your lab profile training program is online. You learn it at your own pace. Maybe you can talk about what you're learning with some people, but some others may not understand or appreciate you knowing about them more deeply than they want you to know. So I suggest you structure and proceed with your lab profile skill development and proficiency on your own. If you have not yet learned the lab profile, click the link in this video's description to sign up for my latest and most complete version of the lab profile online training program so you can achieve your own amazing results. If you learned the lab profile years ago, you may be missing multiple categories and patterns I have developed in recent years. Look at your lab profile interview form, and if you don't have 17 categories and 54 patterns, you are working with fewer tools in your lab profile toolbox than are now available. Click the link in this video's description to sign up for the latest and most complete version of the lab profile so you can achieve more and have more profound results. And request the upgrade discount coupon.